Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Welcome to Missing the Point. We're going to talk about the Celtics today. We're going to do that thing that we all love to do, but maybe we don't love to do it today. I'm here with some people I've talked about the Celtics with once or twice before, Hollywood Ray Buchanan and the real BK Bob Kelly. What's up, boys? Look, we're just going to do a postmortem on this offseason. It's basically the last time I was with you guys, I think we were celebrating the signing of Brogdon and Gallinari. We were all pretty ecstatic about the exact needs that needed to be filled, making a huge run this coming season, looking like the best team in the East, being the best team in the East, having some solutions for tiredness of our stars coming in Gallinari and Brogdon. And basically everything's just gone from bad to worse since then. The offseason has really been a continual fucking kick in the balls. Every September, for as long as I've been a basketball fan, has been the quietest month of basketball for me. Tell me if you guys think I'm wrong. I think media day, you should just be signing guys out of training camp. You should be releasing guys that you never heard of off the bottom of the roster. You should be, gearing up for media day. Media day for every other team was showing off the slightly different jerseys and joking around with the reporters, but not us this year, which we'll get to that. But let's start off just in chronological order as best we can with the right after we signed Gallo and Brogdon. Gallo obviously goes on international duty and he tears his ACL. It was a few kind of days of like, did he not? And I think we were all sort of like, bet he fucking did.
You saw the picture. If you saw the picture, you're like,
bet he fucking did. And I remember, in the Discord, it was, oh, maybe not. I was like, I don't know. So he did. He's not going to be doing anything for us this season. I'm not a doctor, but usually all sports fans know the 3-letter term ACL it equals season. So unless you guys have heard anything different, let's talk about that. What do we do? Ray, I'll go to you first on this. Are you in the camp of fuck it, sign Carmelo Anthony and let's just get some shooting off the bench at the forward position so that Tatum doesn't have to play as many minutes and he's not as exhausted? Or are you in the let's work with what we have, let's get Grant Williams a few more minutes? What do you think we should do?
So I've been back and forth. Honestly, I think that Carmelo Anthony is someone that has been wanted by people in the organization for a few years, and I think Danny didn't want him while he was here, so they kind of went back and forth between him and Brad and Mike Zarin and Steve Pagliuca. So I think he would be a great addition here if someone that can get you still 15 a night off the bench. I think that he had many great moments in LA, but it got lost in the shuffle because they went 33 and 49. But in the same breath, we saw Grant improve dramatically last year. We saw, other guys on our team take, significant leaps. So maybe if it was Grant last year, maybe this year it becomes Sam Hauser, right? So we know Sam Hauser basically does not shoot layups or he doesn't shoot twos at all. All he shoots is threes. So I think that they're expecting him to be, to fill that role, now that he signed an official deal. He's no longer on a 2-way contract. So, I'd like to say I went back and forth, but I think that if they could get Melo, great, but I wouldn't be upset if they just say, Hauser, we're putting it on you. Let's just see where you go with it. And who knows, maybe he becomes the next sharpshooter that we need.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a proven commodity, but you know what you're going to get with Carmelo Anthony. I've always liked him personally. I've always liked his game. I think, the way he can shoot in the range for his size, I think was always impressive to me. And that draft class is nostalgic for a lot of different reasons. But I think, you're kind of asking yourself, are you going to get Carmelo Anthony now? And is he going to benefit you come playoff time? Maybe it's going to benefit you on minutes, like taking a little bit off the other guys. But, might as well do that. I think I agree with you with somebody that could potentially actually feature if they become a really good spot-up jump shooter from us, which is a thing we don't really talk about very often, but a thing we don't really have. We have good three-point shooters, but guys that can find a spot and hit consistently when they're open, I think is something that was a feeture of the 08 Celtics championship run that we had 3 guys basically where if they were in a spot and they were open, it was going in. And I think, a one-tool job is is fine to have on your bench at some point. And I think it's okay to try to get somebody to practice becoming that. Bobby, where you stand on this whole Carmelo Anthony potentially, or some other forward maybe that I'm not thinking of, because we wanted Danilo to come in and shoot threes, right? We want him to come in and shoot, be tall, be a presence. We weren't going to ask him to play a ton of crazy defense. I don't feel like it's not really his game. Obviously, he was the best case scenario at the forward position to back up Tatum, like bring something a little bit different onto the floor, but we don't have that anymore. So what do you think we should do?
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's Carmelo, but when you look back at what was our biggest problem coming into this offseason, it was that stretch 3-4 spot, right, where it was so obvious that these dudes just didn't have any legs by the ends of that series. And that's exactly what Gallo was supposed to do. Listen, he wasn't brought here to play defense. He wasn't brought here to bring those intangibles that like we love so much on this team. He was brought here to spell offensive minutes for Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So if you're asking me, do you think they need to bring someone in? 100%, man. I think it's crazy they haven't yet to this point.
What about Ray's point about maybe just getting some, like the Hausers of the world, some minutes?
I mean, listen, if Hauser can come in and prove that he can fill those minutes with significant NBA level ball, 100%. But we haven't seen that yet from him. So that unknown for such a vital spot on this team, like out of everything else coming into this offseason, to me, that was priority number one. You can talk about the guards, you can talk about all this stuff, but getting depth at that 3-4 position was 100% my priority number one coming into this offseason. So the fact that we lost that depth that we got and haven't done anything to replace it and are going to continue to rely on what we have in-house, these things that in the past haven't shown us can do the job. I just think it'd be good to have that insurance policy of Carmelo coming off the bench or someone who's established that can sit here and give you, listen, I'm not asking for 25 minutes a game. I'm asking for 15 legitimate minutes on a basketball court. And I just don't have the faith that Sam Hauser can do that consistently to where he's coming in and we're not like, God damn it. Like, can you please get Tatum back on the court?
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest thing to me. It was like that God damn it moment. We need our guy back on the court.
Yeah.
You need to have minutes filling in there that just you don't know. You're always going to notice Tatum being off the court, but like where you're not significantly taking your level of play down a notch when he's off the court.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think we've seen Carmelo Anthony perform at the highest level. So, I know he's only been to one conference finals, but he's been to the playoffs. I think he'll lose 10 out of his 19 years so far in the league. So, he's no stranger to postseason performance. I will say, remember, coming into last season, we were not on the Grant Williams hype train. We weren't. We wanted him out of here. We were looking at different scenarios, every way possible to get him out of town.
I still think he's a fucking dork.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
Brogdon even admitted it within 2 minutes of being on the Celtics.
Exactly. Right. Facts.
This guy talks a lot. Right.
He talks a lot, but good player, right? So he's now become more of a staple in the offense, right? So that's once again, that's the hope with Hauser or anyone else that comes along this year.
I agree with you, and I do see your point. But just before you leave the Grant Williams thing, I just want to make the point of like I feel like Gallinari came in specifically because Grant Williams went the way of the fucking dodo towards the end of the finals. Like I think Ime, who obviously will come on to talk about a little later, and Brad were a little bit like, Danilo Gallinari is just like gonna still be hitting shots in Game 6 of the finals. Like he just is. So let's bring him in. I think that's fair.
That's a fair assessment to make. I think obviously with Gallinari being the vet that he has been in the league 13, 14 years. Once again, we remember what he was in Denver, even when he was in New York as well. And he is someone that can get. He was a lesser version of Peja Stojakovic, right?
Yeah,
and obviously, we see Peja was an all-star in this league. Someone that can knock down the three. So yeah, of course, I was excited as a fan to see. Now I wasn't excited initially because I was like, man, I couldn't believe that. That's all it took for Atlanta to get DeJounte Murray was only Trey Gallinari in the deal. I was like, wait a minute, like we could have done that. We couldn't have gotten DeJounte Murray at the time. So that was my initial response. But once I realized that we got him on the cheap, and that I thought he was going to be someone that was going to be not just effective but efficient for us off the bench, that piqued my interest and increased my excitement. But but back to the Melo point I was making. He, like I said, he's proven in the playoffs. Yes, I know he has not gotten to an NBA Finals, so I know those that listen to this will say, "Oh, he's never won this, never won that." Offensively, he is one of the greatest talents this league
100%.
has ever seen, and even at age 37, or he might be 38 now, he's going to
be able to shoot a basketball forever.
Right? No, yeah, shoot a basketball, but his first step is still quicker than most, even at age 38. Like his footwork is unreal. Like it's I didn't realize how good his footwork was until I remember just watching a video on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, he still knows how to create separation. Like I said, the mid-range game is there. And once again, that's like you just alluded to a few minutes ago. Like that's a lost art in the NBA. Like
I love it.
We praise to Sean Livingston. We give praise to Rip Hamilton. We give praise to DeMar DeRozan now, who's probably the best in the game when it comes to mid-range shooting now. But
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, Melo was still in that mold, man. So yes, I'm talking myself into it as we do this segment. But
I will also say,
I would love for that to happen though.
Well, I will also say to your Sam Hauser point, like if you were able to set up two cameras, like inside Sam Hauser's brain, one inside Sam Hauser's brain and one inside Melo's, one would look like it was going in fast forward and one would look like it was going in slow motion when playing in an NBA game. So are we at the point still as a team, and I'll use this as the question to transition, where the Sam Hausers of the world are on the court for us getting good at basketball? I don't know if that's the kind of team that we need to kind of be at this point. I think you better be able to fucking play when you come in and play for the Boston Celtics now.
I just don't want to get to a point where we were 2 years ago, right? Where we're looking at a court in crunch time of a basketball game that we need to win.
Yeah.
And Sam Hauser is out there just devouring minutes from us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just thought we were past the point where we're seeing Tremont Waters and dudes like this on the court in crunch time of an NBA game, which is where I feel like
you're like, who's number 74?
Bro, right. Exactly.
Right.
It's just, I just don't need to see that.
We're only down 4. What's happening?
Yeah.
It's like guys are just gassed.
As long as we're not bringing out guys like Vitor Faverani and Yuji Datome, I'm good. So Sam Hauser is a step above that, Bobby. I feel you. I'm with you.
Well, you watch Carmelo Anthony come on the court, you gotta be like, fuck, like who's gonna get Melo?
He could be in the closing lineup.
Yeah.
Imagine that where it's okay, you got to give him the ball, and then great. I don't know if he's still commanding a double team at this stage of his career, but the fact is you have to respect the jump shot.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, that's someone that just on a given night, because he's still showed it when he was in Portland.
Totally.
And, on a given night, he's going to give you 25.
And also, like, if he, and this is a hypothetical, and we'll move on from this now because we do have a tendency to get carried away about the fantasy of signing certain players when when we do this. But I'll move on after this. There's a world where Carmelo Anthony comes out in Game 5 of the finals and he hits 3 shots, and the Warriors have to be like, "Fuck, okay, Draymond, you got to go on Melo," and Ime just goes like, "Jog him around, dude, run him around." Go baseline to baseline, go for, come set a little screen, like move this way. And it's like, he's your problem now, So that opens, if you can get a guy like that to come on the court and you have to start worrying about him, even if he ends the night with 6 points and like 2 rebounds, you still affected the game plan of the other team to the point where now instead of Jayson Tatum ending the night with 14 points, he's got 26. Instead of Jaylen Brown ending the night with, 9 points, he's got 18, and like you've won the game, right? So this is a guy you have to think about if he's on the court. Like everybody knows who he is. So moving on, as another theme, obviously, of this offseason has been the look of a potential team with Kevin Durant in it. Obviously, we're not going to fucking talk about those trade rumors specifically, but I do just want to touch on them in the theme of what a shitty offseason this has been. And I want to ask you guys the question: do you think it's going to have a detrimental impact on Jaylen Brown, knowing that it's confirmed that he was in a package to get KD? Do you think he gets it? Do you think he's pissed? Do you think that the lack of organizational loyalty is going to affect him in the future? And do you think now with kind of a never rains but it pours situation going on down there that's just another thing that's happened to him this offseason? I'll go with you. I'll go with you, Bobby.
I just think it's another thing that's happened. Listen, I feel like it's kind of a step up for where Jaylen Brown has been viewed in the past, that he was being considered in trade conversations for goddamn Kevin Durant. Like, listen, I know it's a loyalty thing, and I know it doesn't look great that, like, especially with everything that happened with Ime, like, we'll get there, how they didn't know about it, until they heard about it on Twitter. I get all that. But at the same time, you have to recognize at least that Jaylen Brown has tiered up. You know what I mean? 100% he's tiered up from where he was previously. And if you're looking at it in an optimistic point of view, which is what I like to do with the Celtics, is 100% he's recognizing now that he is a superstar in the NBA. Granted, I don't know what that means for him 2-3 years down the road when he comes up to contract time. Like, listen, you guys weren't faithful to me. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. I get it. But confidence-wise and judging by what we've seen in the offseason, I think kind of made him tear up even more, if I'm being honest. Like, I see Jaylen as a... Listen, you're not going to... The Nets aren't going to consider a trade for someone who's not first or second team NBA for Kevin Durant. And that's what they were being offered with Jaylen. And I think that he now believes that. I think it's going to be tough down the road. I think once it comes down to contract talks, I don't think that this is going to go by the wayside, and I don't think it's going to be something that we don't remember. Like, oh, maybe we should. But for right now, for this season, I honestly, I have a different outlook on it, to where I think it's going to give him a different mindset. Like, listen, I'm on this level now. Like, here I am, and it's going to be even more of an upset from here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty widely recognized that if you drop Jaylen Brown onto like probably 16 teams, 17 teams in the NBA, that he'd be the best guy on one of those teams. So that's like more than half of the teams he'd be the number one dude on. I mean, I don't want to parse that out, but like I that's just a guess. Could be more. I think that, his level as our number two guy is like a large part of the reason why we made the NBA Finals. Is a large part of the reason why we're really optimistic about this coming season. And I really hope it hasn't fucked his brain up, everything that's happened. But he's a smart guy. He's a professional guy. I love him and Brogdon together now. I think the whole thing, Malcolm Brogdon's dad was like a fucking rocket scientist, and he got his master's degree in college while playing basketball. I also have always found Jaylen Brown to be incredibly intelligent. So I think we might have like a fucking team of scientists here coming in. So I think it's a good fit. Everything's looking good, but all the outside noise, I don't really want to fuck his brain up. What do you think? Where do you think his head is at, Ray?
So actually, to that point about Brogdon, so him and Brogdon actually they're pretty tight, and they became closer in the bubble. So
it makes a lot of sense. They're both fucking smart.
Right, exactly. So I was excited when that happened, because obviously I knew that was going to be someone that was going to be in Jaylen's corner, someone that could be, an advocate for him, someone that could be
totally. He needs that.
A person
he deserves that. He deserves that on the team at this point.
So, but far as the outside noise, and once again, we've said it on the show, other media pundits have said it, radio, podcasts, wherever people have their speaking platforms. At the end of the day, yes, it is a business, but at the same time, we are dealing with human beings, right? So yes, he's human, but I think he's got to a point where he is going to block out the noise. But if he didn't, I hope that he's upset. I hope that he's mad and says, you know what? I'm going to show you why I deserve to still be here. I'm going to show you why I'm actually considered a top 15 to 20 player in this league. And, for what I've seen in those videos recently, from the first couple of days of training camp, him and Tatum look stronger than ever, and I know we'll touch on that, later on, but I just think he's in a good place mentally. I think that he, like anyone would be hurt in that moment, because obviously you spend 5-6 years in an organization. That's all because he was 19 when he got here. So I think that he has his moments, but I think that he's gonna take his aggression out through his play, and if that's the case, we should be super excited, because when he's locked in, he's as good as anyone in this league. I just want the handles to be improved, and I want the shot making to be improved, so that he consistently works on his game. And
I hope he put up
I
10,000 free
can't wait
throws
to
in
see
the
what he
offseason,
does.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, the free throws too. That's the
Yeah.
that's not the
I hope he shot 100,000 of them in
huge.
the offseason.
Right.
No, totally. Listen, a thing a lot of people are very, very quick to forget because the narrative and the truth of the matter really is that Jaylen Brown is our number one guy. But I will also say that if we had have won the NBA Finals, and I know that we didn't, but had we won the NBA Finals, I would have been pretty upset if Jaylen Brown wasn't Finals MVP because he was. Like, he just straight up was. I think if you asked him and there was a bunch of reporters in his face, if he thought he was better than Jayson Tatum, he might media train and like sidestep that question. But I think if you really get the truth out of him, I think he thinks he is. And I think every elite athlete should have the mentality that they're the best player on the floor. But I think that he thinks that he is the best player on the floor. And sometimes he is the best player on the floor. Yeah. So I love having him on the team. I've always really liked his mentality and his personality. And I love his game. And I agree with you on the stuff that needs to improve. And I think the reason why we all kind of gravitate towards saying Tatum is the number one player is because he doesn't have any holes like that. I think he has stuff that he adds to his game every year where it's like, oh, he can do this now. That's great. But he doesn't have anything super glaring like some of the things that Jaylen Brown has. And it's not a huge criticism. I still think he's better than, or 90% of the NBA. But I think, the handles, the free throws, the shots late in games. I think those hot starts are great, but I would love to see that kind of performance be consistent throughout a game, which I think is totally possible and doable. But I hope he has blocked out the noise, and I think we'll see. I hope nobody overreacts in the first 10, 20 games of the season, and we'll get on to the kind of the overall theme of what the season is going to be coming up. But let's talk about Rob Williams for a second.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a big frame to be jumping up and down on that knee. And obviously, I respect the gangster coming in and being like, fuck it, I'm playing in the finals. I do. I mean, he's got a dog in him to that degree, and I enjoy that. I really liked his answer to the question of like, do you regret playing in the finals in the postseason last season because your knee wasn't 100% and now you're out for longer? And he was like, I played the fucking NBA finals, dude. I was like, yes, that is the answer. Like, you're a fucking hooper. You want to go and you want to fucking play the NBA finals. That's what's up, right? So he clearly wasn't at 100%. My first reaction when I heard about his knee getting scoped out and like all that stuff in the initial 4 to 6 weeks was like, great. Like, let's get it 100% healthy. Let's get him 100% healthy. Let's get his body used to me, it reminds me a little bit of early Joel Embiid. It's like, it's a big fucking body to get used to that many NBA minutes, and he wasn't getting that many. And then when he did, he sort of started to get banged up. But I think if he gets in really good shape, he can be super healthy. But 8 to 12 weeks is pretty fucking devastating. So I guess same question, Al Horford's going to have to bear the brunt of those minutes. Do we want to go look at Dwight or Blake or someone like that that's floating around in the free agency and see what they, see if they want to come in and spell Al Horford a little bit so he doesn't get that many minutes into his billion-year-old bones? Or would we just wait out 12 weeks? Because he's not going to play at this point until Christmas.
Right. But remember, when I brought up Dwight over the summer, y'all was like, I don't know. But I was like, we're not talking. We don't need Orlando Dwight. I mean, granted, that was the case. I mean, we win the championship.
We'll take Orlando Dwight.
Yeah, we'll take Orlando Dwight, obviously. But it's like you're talking 10 to 15 minutes, and Dwight Howard, you step in shape. You can say about him being goofy. The man stays in shape. Like the dude,
he does. I like the new version of Dwight.
6'10", 6'11", 265. Like the dude's been chiseled since he got out. Team out of Southwest Atlanta. Like, dude, it's crazy. So he can still give 10 to 15 minutes tonight. He's going to be a defensive presence. He's always been
rebounding,
side defender. So, which is what the Celtics play. That is their thing. So he would fit right in. I've heard obviously people still are enamored with Boogie Cousins, and I get it because you think about what he was in Sacramento. You remember?
I am a little still enamored with Boogie.
Me too. I
get it. Footwork. That guy's got footwork.
Remember
man.
when he was in New Orleans, and it's like, oh my God, like his passing, the scoring. But it's like, I don't know if. I mean, granted, if you're saying 15 to 20 minutes a night, okay. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that either.
No, I don't want Boogie on the Celtics. Okay, we've had enough fucking emotional trauma on the Celtics. It's not worth the risk. You gotta mitigate that.
Well, I mean, once again, but if we're not expecting him to be once again what he was in other places, once again, just give me 15 to 20 minutes a night. And I think that him being 32 now, meaning Boogie Cousins, like, I don't think that he's the same volatile guy, because we haven't seen too much stuff happen with him lately when he's played with.
Yeah, but is he fully committed though?
Like, he's definitely matured.
Is he fully committed though? Because I feel like if he isn't, then and he's on this Celtics team, there's guys that are going to want to fucking rip his head off. You know,
I think him and Smart would be great. I think him and Smart would be phenomenal. I think they would be able to hold each other in check. Like, I think that would be awesome to see. But those are the two names that I think about. I know we talked about Willie Cauley-Stein over the summer too. Like, I think he got signed or somewhere. But those are. But I mean, Boogie and Dwight should be at the top of people's list.
Sure.
And once again, drop a name in the comments as you watch this, or if you listen, on wherever you listen to the podcast. But those are two names that should be at the top of people's list.
You can't hate a veteran presence.
No, not at all.
And like, it'd be really weird to watch the Celtics with Carmelo Anthony and fucking Dwight Howard running around out there. But I mean, 19-year-old me would be pumped.
2K13, bro, all the way.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
I just look at it as like, okay, so what's our contingency plan here? I'm gonna sound like a broken record, like I like to do, but like, are we really gonna sit here and think that our secondary unit come January and February is gonna be goddamn Luke Kornet and Sam Hauser? Like, is that really?
Hey, they love Luke though.
I know, and listen, I love Luke. All right, it's Kornet time. I get it, Killer Kornet. It's on, bro. But
Bobby loves anybody that has a catchphrase or something along those lines.
If it sticks in my head, I'm in it. But like, bro, I can't sit here and say that I'm excited for these two guys to be playing significant minutes on a team that coming into a month and a half ago, I had championship or bust expectations for. You know what I mean? Like that was the level we were at. And now we're sitting here like, well, can we survive Sam Hauser and Luke Kornet play? Stop. I 100% think we have, like, it doesn't need to be Dwight Howard. It doesn't need to be Boogie Cousins. Just give me someone that has legitimate minutes as an NBA 4 and 5 in this league. I don't care who it is. It can be your guy, Bruno Fernando. Bring him back. That's fine. But like,
yeah.
I don't want guys that haven't been proven to be able to fill these minutes,
right,
and them not be able to, and us sitting here 2-3 months into the season like, what the hell happened to our depth? What are we going to do once we get past our first unit? Because listen, we've been on this path before. We've done all this, guys. We've done every exercise we're doing. We've fucking done this, and we know how this ends.
Yeah, it'll be a lot.
I'm sorry to be like that guy, but like, we've done all this shit before, and we know how this team ends up in February, where we're like, what the hell? Tatum has 42 minutes a game. Jaylen Brown is struggling. His wrist hurts. His knee hurt. You know what I mean? Like, we've been down this road, and I just don't see. I don't see an internal solution. I'm sorry. We've tried that internal solution before. It never works out. So I'm ready for someone to come in.
Can I pose a question to both of y'all? So obviously we're on the theme of having a backup big men. Like, listen, we all know that's a need. Like, to say otherwise, like you're on something.
DK's been trying to tell Brad for like fucking 6 years.
Yeah, no, I say so. What about how do y'all feel about bringing back someone like Aaron Baines?
Yes,
I'm with it.
I said that a few 100%. Shows ago. I said I was talking about him in context with Tice. I'm like, if any of those guys are going to come back from that fun little run, I would take Baines over Tice every time. I never gave a shit that there was 7,000 highlights of him getting dunked on. To me, that was, he's there. He's going straight up in the air. And like, yeah, he might not be physically getting up to the heights of like a fucking, DeMar DeRozan's jumping over his fucking head. I don't give a shit. Like, he's there. He slid to the right place. He's playing smart minutes. He's getting boards, which, as you know, is my favorite stat. I think there's that's, you got to go get the fucking basketball. He's right there. He's tall as shit. I think he had a great mentality. I think, a guy like Aaron Baines.
Yeah, I think Tatum and Brown love him too. I think they always talk about him. So
exactly, and he's he's a role player. He's a true role player in the NBA. Like, he's a guy like that. You get to come in. You have a Dwight Howard. You have a Carmelo Anthony. There's always a version of them inside their heads that used to be Dwight Howard circa 2010 and Carmelo Anthony circa 2012, where you're just like, okay, yeah. We get it. You used to be absolutely fucking sick. Like, I understand. But like, please don't try that again. Like those moments. I think Aaron Baines is just out there like, I'm warmed up. I had a nutritious meal today. Or he's like, oh, good day. I'm warmed up. I had a nutritious meal today. Whatever the fucking Australian accent sounds like coming out of that guy's mouth. And he's like, I'm here to just make good slides. No one's going to back cut me. I'm going up for boards. I'm vocal, he switches super well. We play that kind of defense. He's always switched really well for a guy his size. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Put him on the blower right now. Get him on the blower.
Yeah,
I
think that. Well, I know he's. I think he's signed
to an Australian
to Australia team. But I don't know. This season's not going to be the whole season. So I do think by the time the All-Star break comes about, I do think that he should be added for a shot. If he wants to come back to the NBA, obviously, and I also think that the guy that they're really high on because he did well during the summer league is Fernando Cavaghelli. He's not.
We talked about him in the summer league.
Yeah, we talked about it in the summer league show. I think that he's someone that's going to be pleasing to watch during the preseason. I think fans are going to be, they already were on the hype train seeing him in the summer league. So I think that if he has another great showing or showings during the preseason, then people are going to be like, look, like he needs to find a way to get, 8 to 12 minutes on the floor. And I think that's not going to hurt, one, because he's high energy. He's someone that can shoot the three. And, he's another able body out there that can do, some work. Dave was I think me and Dave were the first ones that talked about Trevion Williams, the kid from Purdue that they end up getting undrafted. I personally think that, maybe you keep him as a third or fourth big. Once again, if he shows that, he has to get into shape. But once again, from a passing perspective, and I said this on the show over the summer, the dude is NBA ready as a passer. His vision is pro ready right now. But he has to get the conditioning ready. He has to make sure that he understands the sets that they're calling under Joe Mazzulla. So I just think, to me, those are two names that may come up. But I'm with you, Bobby. I understand that, when you're banking on first and second year players to be key contributors, it was different with Tatum and Brown, right? Like they were both the number 3 picks. They, even Jaylen Brown wasn't the guy that he was going to be a second year when Tatum got there. Like Tatum showed in the summer league he was an NBA scorer right away, and he just needed time to flourish. And once he did, they went crazy in that 2018 playoff run. So, like I said, there's a lot of room for growth with the current roster. But like I said, we keep reiterating this point, and we will until they do something. You have to add something in order. I mean, I know they want flexibility. I get that. But the flexibility, damn that right now financially. You need to figure it out. They'll come on veterans minimum. So whether it's like 2.4, 2.5 million, if you need to cut them later on, fine, do so. But to send a message to the locker room, say, despite the turmoil, despite what's going on around us, we are still on par for banner 18. We are still looking to get the job done. End of story.
Yeah. And it's so also to kind of circle back to and Rob Williams is like, listen, I love what he did for us. I love the grit he showed. What he did to get us to Game 6 in the NBA Finals. Because without him, we don't get that far. 100% without him playing through that injury. But this is a guy that has an injury past. This isn't someone that like had an injury last year and played through it last year. This guy has been playing through injury, has been injured almost every single season of his NBA career. Has he had one season where he's healthy beginning to end? I don't think so. So it's not a matter of if, but when with Robert Williams, in my opinion. Every single season, he's going to get dinged up. You need to have depth at that 4 and 5 position. You have to. Because right now, like you guys said, the depth is Al Horford and Luke Kornet.
And
so,
also, there's a world where Al Horford falls off a fucking cliff this season.
100%. And
I hope that doesn't happen, but there's a world where it does.
No, I wanted to touch on that too, because the reason why Al was so good last year was because he was fresh from the year before. You know what I mean? He didn't play with Oklahoma City. He took fucking 6-7 months off. Yeah. This dude just played his heart out. Yeah. All the way to Game 6.
Even during the season last year, there was some moments where people was like, okay, he's 35. Like
you could see his knees hurting.
And then we got to the postseason and we was like, oh, this is 2016 now. Yeah. Because he shows up when it matters. Like people can say what he want, but what the man, I don't think the man, well, I mean, obviously he didn't make it OKC because he wasn't playing and they wanted the team. I don't think he's missed the playoffs when he's played full time. He hasn't missed the playoffs. That's not a coincidence. Like that, those Atlanta teams
Only ever made it out of the
winning
first
that-
round once, though. At least it was with us.
Oh no, I mean sure, but I'm like, but they were going to be in the mix at least in the top 8, top 4
no,
times.
totally.
You know, so yeah, so I to me, it depends on what they're going to ask of Al Horford. I think that he can wrap it up when he needs to. Obviously, I just hope that they're not
going to ask
putting
a lot
too
of them
much
though
on
without
the
Rob
early
Williams.
on.
That's it. If Rob Williams isn't there, you're asking too much of Al,
Yeah.
and you can't rely
Well,
on someone that old.
What's the starting lineup then?
Well,
What's the starting lineup?
without Rob,
I mean,
right now.
To me,
It's Al, Tatum.
Brogdon slots right in, which I said at the 6-man talk was fucking propaganda a while ago, and
he's
I know
the
that
2 now, right? Or
he's the 2.
He's the 2, right? So
But he's the 2 because Rob is hurt, not because I'm telling you, he's
100%,
going to be off the bench. He's not going to be starting all the time. I'm telling you that. I don't want to. I hate the burst of bubble. He's not going to start all the time. He's going to start.
I don't know,
guys
man.
are hurt.
I feel like I feel like you're underrating him a little bit, and I think if he gets a little streak going, where he's playing at the level that like I think he's capable of, I think he's going to be an undeniable starting minutes guy and closeout guy. To be honest with you,
No, he'll.
But I think the reason why that he's in the position he's in and he's rated the way he's rated is because of injury. And if he can, I'm saying if he can be healthy and get a streak going, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at like the kind of contributions he makes, and it's going to be he's just going to become.
He can hoop. Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen. We the 3 of us talk basketball better than most, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried about his play. I'm just saying I know that was their thought process. He said it. Brad said, like,
but I'm saying, well, maybe they go small then. You know, like instead of putting that load management. Putting that load management on, that's what I mean.
They don't have a choice. The first 8 to 12 weeks is 2 to 3 months of the season.
But
So
we played our best basketball with a double big formation. We played our best basketball in the playoffs with a double big formation. We cannot do that right now. So,
do you think? Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going to ask, like, what, like, you know, we have to change the look of our team without Rob Williams in there. And I agree with Bobby on the sense that, like, you know, the contingency plan not being there and the fact that he does get injured as much as he does.
Yeah,
it means it's like, well, okay, so you guys are going to need to know how to play 2 different kinds of basketball, you know,
right.
Which is
personally, I think though, and I haven't heard this anywhere. This is just something I just thought of because they did it last year, but the year before times too. Don't be surprised if Grant's at the 4.
Sure.
I know that
that's a small lineup.
People may hear somebody always Rayshaw's out of his mind. That's cool. And sometimes I am. I wouldn't be surprised if Grant's at the 4.
But that's a small lineup, right? That's what we're saying.
It is what I'm saying. What happened? Yeah.
Small.
So excuse me if I could talk for a second. Putting Al at the 5, Grant at the 4, you know, and then you have a bigger lineup where it's Smart and Brown is your backcourt, Tatum's your 3, and then you're
a little positionless at that
so
minute, though, right?
Right. So I get it, and I think that's a great lineup against some teams because I think that lineup could blow some teams out. But what the hell are the Boston Celtics going to do against the Philadelphia 76ers, against the Bucks, against the Heat, against the Nuggets?
We always find a way to beat the Sixers. I'm not worried about that.
Well, all right, yeah. So but like against these teams that have these 5s, man, like there literally is. It's not even like a bad contingency plan. There isn't one. You're telling me you're going to rely on Al Horford, who is 38 years old.
The difference between what Bam looked like when Rob was healthy and playing and what Bam looks like when he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like
it's a whole different team. When
you got to worry about him, you know.
He didn't even work out like that though, to be honest.
But
that's true.
But when we don't have when that small lineup doesn't have a rim protector there, it's a whole different ball game, man. It really like when we're relying on a 38-year-old Al Horford and a 6'7" Grant, I don't know, that's short, 6'9" Grant Williams to be our rim protector. Like it gets
well, he's not that. That's not his game. That's not what he's going to be doing.
Right, but it gets so. Remember those 4 or 5 minute stretches where we're literally all pulling our hair out, going, "Get a goddamn rebound, deuce." That's where we're going to be.
That's where Tatum and Brown and even Smart to a lesser degree has
Smart. I was going to say,
like you got all 5 have to crash the board, right?
Agreed.
Something where you're looking at 1 or 2 guys to get the rebounds. Like it has to be a group effort, right?
I agree. I honestly agree. I don't even. I know you want to leak out and get into transition. I get that, but in order to compromise what's going on right now and make do with what you have to have all 5 crash the board I think that leads back to my original point, though, is like we played our best basketball when we were moving really fast, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And that's when you crash the boards. I mean, we're not telling anyone sitting around listening to an NBA podcast anything they don't already know. But when you crash the boards, your transition play dies. You know, I don't mind it. I mean, the '08 Celtics are a great example of it. Rajon Rondo used to get fucking 8 rebounds a game or whatever because he would just like put himself in positions, and it didn't matter because they played half court. You know, they played a slower half court game, which I loved watching. I really enjoyed it, but that's not the Celtics. Like Marcus Smart, like I agree with you. Like if you have everybody crash the boards, like you're going to get more rebounds, and it is a smart way to like play your game. But like our offense does become a little turgid when we get slowed down.
Turgid is the nicest word you
or
could possibly
a little,
put out
or
there
when we become a little bit of an eat the clock team, as we've discussed in the past. Like it doesn't look great. Now, if they can learn how to do that, you know, and if they can have the mentality that like they're not going to fucking space jam every single offensive possession. And honestly, they need to. I don't even really hate it as an idea because they need to learn how to fucking play efficient half-court, full shot clock basketball better than they already do. Right. And I think that having a small lineup is really good for that in certain situations. But to Bobby's point, God, this is going to be a messy fucking season. Yeah. All right. We only have a few minutes left. I'm just thinking about what this fucking team is going to look like. And I honestly have no fucking idea.
Bro, yeah. I just want to fast forward to January and February and just see how stressed out we all are, because that's where we're going to be. We're going to get 3 months of the season.
Then again, like what happens, right?
What happens if they catch fire?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's literally what I was about to say. Like, what happens if Jayson Tatum still has another post All-Star break fucking level up in him and he becomes arguably a top 2 player in the fucking NBA, you know what I mean? Like, and he just goes insane. What happens if Jaylen Brown comes out and he's playing just out of his fucking mind every single game, and it just doesn't matter at that point?
That new jump shot,
but then it just doesn't matter at that point, you know. Then you're not talking about double bigs, and you're not talking about transition and small ball. You're talking about like doesn't matter. Jaylen and Jayson both have 40. End of game. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know.
If we remember, so I use this. I know it was a different team because you know there was still KG and the rest of the big dude was there. You know, when they lost to LA in the finals in 2010, they come back. They had some other guys there. I think they had like Jermaine O'Neal. Shaq was there. Yeah. There's some other guys.
Jermaine O'Neal was there, all right.
That was jumping
big 3 centimeters off the ground trying to get a rebound in Game 7.
Exactly, but that team, you know, I think the year before they get to the finals, they went 50-32. Yeah. They come back the next year. I mean, I know they had to lose to Miami in the second round, obviously, because you know that's when LeBron and them got joined Miami. But that team went 56-26. Like I think people thought, like, okay, it's just the end of that era.
We looked pretty good in that series. I was right. TV Rondo, like there was a lot going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is, I think we're either going to get a mix of that, or we could get, you know, a version of the 08-09 Celtics where, I mean, I know they ended up losing to Orlando because KG was out, but that team went 27-2 to start, and they were running through everybody. Oh, yeah. Everybody. That day, at one point, they won 18 in a row. And I was like, I said, oh my God. I was like,
I had my 82-0 t-shirt ready to go, man.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was like, they easily would have went back to back. And once again, I know people say, well, that's for business history. No. The way they were running through everyone at that time, and I was like, they would have went back to back.
That's the best start I've ever seen.
If KG didn't get hurt, we would have gone back to back. 100%.
Yeah, we should have faced LA 3 years in a row. Like that would have been a great trilogy like that. That would have been phenomenal. So, but needless to say, either we're going to get a mix of that what we saw in 09, or you know, we'll see what we saw in 2011 where they still won, you know, near 60 games. You know, I am a little bit leery of the coach situation. Like I said, I know that's. You know,
that's what we're going to talk about last. So
go ahead.
I'll just ask you guys the questions in these last few minutes we have here. Obviously, we might have seemed like we were beating around the bush slightly, but obviously the worst thing that's happened this off season is Ime Udoka.
Are you sure? Is that number one?
Pretty sure. Obviously, Ime Udoka was doing some shit he shouldn't have been doing. Look, I mean, you guys did your best to fucking talk about it the week it happened. I know it wasn't an easy thing to talk about when everything was fresh, but we still don't really fucking know anything, to be honest with you. Right. You know, was it consensual? Did weird comments? Blah, 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 blah. Look, here's the deal. I don't think he gets fucking suspended for a year unless he does some fucking shit that the internet will go insane about. I think that the fact that Matt Barnes, of all people, is going like, I was supporting him and then I heard what he did. Oh, no. I'm like, okay, cool, Matt. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that says a lot.
It does. It honestly, quite frankly,
said the most. It said the most. If we're being honest.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So the fact that
And
Matt Barnes was
he's like,
yo,
I don't think he's
gotta
ever going to be a
come,
coach
big guy.
again in the NBA once it comes out. Like, I'm like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Obviously, I'm not saying anything all of us don't already know. This is difficult to talk about. It was very upsetting, honestly, when it happened, because I think that I can't even look at you guys when I say this is so fucking awful that this went down like this. And obviously, you know, my heart goes out to anybody that was negatively affected in their life. But just from the perspective of a sports fan, man, you had such a good fucking thing going.
God damn it,
you
bro.
had such a good fucking thing going, dude. Like you were at the top of the world, bro. Like the players loved you, the fans loved you. You got a team that nobody expected to 6 games with one of the arguably the best franchise and group of players we've all seen over the last fucking 20 years. Right. Everybody was listening to you. Everybody was marching to the same drum beat. You had bona fide superstars that like obviously loved and respected you, and you were a proven commodity in the NBA. And the one thing you could do to fuck your day up, and my day up, quite frankly, was this. So look, I don't give a shit. Okay, to be quite honest with you, if you cheat on your wife, if you are not a great person in real life. When you look at sports through the vacuum of just trying to win fucking games, I hope he didn't do anything horribly diabolical that he should be like punished for in real life. But again, we don't know. Yeah. But man, you really fucked up what was supposed to be such a good fucking season for the Boston Celtics. And quite frankly, I'm fucking furious with him.
Yeah. So what got me so mad about it is like, I completely agree with you. Listen, I will never sit here and judge a person for mistakes they make in their personal life, cheating on their wife, banging someone that they shouldn't. Whatever. If it's consensual, listen, do you and live your life. But at the same time, bro, you were beloved in this town. Listen, you were Ime. I still can't.
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. But Mr. Udoka had his life set in this town. All right, he was going to go down as the face of this regime, of the face of Banner 18 once it comes, because it was coming, and it still might be, but it was coming, and he was going to be the face of that banner, the face of turning these guys into superstars, the face of them taking the next step, and I can't imagine. Listen, I can't imagine the mental. The mental roller coaster that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown must be going through right now, because these guys were seen as like the top players of the game, but they didn't quite have the oomph to get over that next level. Finally get this guy here who takes him to that level, who gets him the respect of the rest of the NBA, who gets him the respect of the hardest sports media, maybe in the country. Finally, Boston's like, finally, we're not going to trade these two. These are our guys. These two and Udoka are going to be the face of this franchise. And then one day they just wake up and all that is fucking gone. And it's just, it's so crazy that he would put everything on the line like he did. But yeah, man, I don't even know. I'm at a loss of I can't remember someone who had so much. Like, can you guys think of another example of someone who had so much, who had all this promise, and it turned this fast?
Well, man, as a coach,
honestly,
no, as a coach, no, but plenty of players.
Players, yeah, but guys,
but not as a
coach. Should have fucked with the you're talking about players that are kids, you know.
Their coach is a different level. Like this, he's in
20s.
No, this grown adults, but I'm saying,
but I mean, he's a fully grown adult, though. You know what I mean? Like, really, it's that time to get his fucking shit together on this.
It's so different to be. Listen, you guys have been a minion and you've been a mentor. Right. Yeah. You've been in both those roles before. And to be a mentor, like when I'm in that position, I take that shit seriously.
Right.
And like, you know what I mean? Like you're building up these young men to become like the real men and superstars and transcendent of the game and like all this stuff. And behind closed doors, that's what's happening. Like I just can't imagine. Like that's the perspective I've taken this whole thing is like, I can't imagine being Jaylen and Tatum. Right. And sitting there and having this guy that you respect so much and has taken you to a different level and has brought you to superstardom. And that's what he was doing behind closed doors. Like, to me, I just think it's such a crossroads in Celtics history of
it's also,
where we
but the
go
thing
from
is,
here,
though,
right?
and like on that point, and I want to throw this to Ray too. Like, you work for the fucking Boston Celtics, bro. Like, you don't work for fucking OnStar. You don't work for fucking AT&T. You work for the fucking Boston Celtics. Like, have some fucking respect for the franchise, please. Like, better, like, you know, bigger fucking personalities have come in and not done this shit. And honestly, another thing I keep thinking about is like, you know, and I know you said this, something alluded to this in the group chat, Ray, is like, you and I have talked in the past about how in a predominantly African-American sport, coaching positions, front office positions are not regularly handed out at the rate that they should to people that make up so much of the sport, right? And this is a dude who is not only a black coach, he was a black player, he becomes a black coach, and he's risen to this level at a storied franchise with a checkered fucking past and race relations, I might fucking add, right? And he's driving the ship. He's the guy. Now, we've talked about in the past how unfair it is that, like, you know, if you're a person of color, if you're a woman or whatever, you have to work 50% harder than everybody else, 75% harder than everybody else. When the problem is, if I do something like this, you don't go like, that's what happens when you give white people a job. But there's a whole fucking section of people going, well, see, right now. It might be not saying it with their chest, but he hasn't just let down the team. He hasn't just let down the players. He hasn't just let down the fans. He's let down a bunch of people that honestly are trying to get the same opportunities that he was given. And he's fucked that up a little bit, you know. And
that's what people aren't touching on as much either, because people say, "Oh, it's infidelity. That shit happens all the time." Yes, well, that's not the on the surface. Yes, that is what happened. That's what we know. Fine, and it wasn't even fully infidelity. It was just cheating because they're not legally married. Fine. You cannot look like Ime or myself and do the same things that some others and other races can do. It's just that simple. You know, as a black man, I've been told my entire life in my 30 years of existence, Rashawn, you have to be twice as good to get as half of the opportunities. Yeah. It's just that simple. And once again, it's not fair. It's not right. That's just how it goes. And like I said, once again, we're working towards being better, but it's just like, you know, once again, you know, there's always going to be things that kind of hold us back. And, you know, this could be something that does that depending on how much we end up, you know, finding out. But it's interesting. And I'm glad that we're ending on this and dissect this a little bit more. Because I know it's been a story really for the last, you know, 8 or 9 days. I heard something on the national radio earlier today, and it blew my mind because I didn't think about this until they brought it up. No one has spoke positively on his behalf.
Yeah,
like no one.
At least not since the Barnes video. At least not.
But even when that happened, no one was like, "Man, that's such a great guy. He's the best dude ever." And I'm only spewing back when I heard the national, and I'm like, "Damn, like, you know what? That's true." And even the guy he came underneath, Pop, always going go out there and talk about going. If someone's getting fucked over, Greg Popovich, you can watch the show, is going to be at the front line saying, "Hey, this is wrong. Fuck y'all. This Ime's my guy." That has not happened.
Yeah,
it's not even close to that either. Not even.
Honestly, it's such a good point. Like,
that is, I never thought about that.
That's fully fed to the wolves, like without any
so
support.
that to me is a little more, and like I said, since that national opponent put it out there, that to me is a little more alarming than anything else. And like I said, I'm glad that they gave that perspective, because I didn't even think of it that way. But that is insane to me. That in the 8 or 9 days, once again, not even the players on the team was like, "Oh no, that's something he wouldn't do. He ain't doing nothing like that." And once again, they to me,
everybody's got that friend, you know,
right? But everyone's got that friend, like, you know, like
he's your boy, but you know what he gets up to.
You're not telling me, and I know what they said. I know they had
That's so true, man. Wow.
Yeah, but you're not telling me that they didn't know.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm there. So I'm not always on level 3, which is where the players come in to go to the locker room, but there's a lot of different moving parts on level 3. And, you know, so you can always probably see who the individual was, or individuals, depending on how much stuff really
sounds
ends
like
up
it might have been
coming
individuals.
Out. So it might be individuals thing, it might be plural, you know, so that part's unfortunate, but I think, and I get it. A lot of people was like, man, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Everyone wants to focus on what happened with Brett Favre. Well, I got the same energy for both. I think both situations are crazy.
Sure. Why not both?
Yeah. Why not both? I'm really we have a really bad case of but we have a really bad case in America about the what about this or what about that.
Oh yeah.
Both of us fucked up. Just saying that is. I'm gonna slide on both, and that's why I brought it up now. Yes, Brett Favre is fucked up. We know this. So Brett Favre should get the same type of energy that Ime or anybody else is getting when they commit a wrongdoing. And once again, yes, Bobby, you're right. Shouldn't be judging others, and I'm not. Once again, what he did was messed up. Once again, we're speaking from a fan perspective. We had the winning formula, or what we thought the winning formula was going to be, and then it goes away. And it makes me think about what Rasheed Wallace said when Detroit was on their run, and he said, "If it ain't rough, it ain't right." And that's the only thing I could think of.
Got to overcome adversity. Every great team ever is overcome adversity.
It can't. This is going to make the 30 for 30 real great.
Honestly, I can't think of a better
saw that
note
tweet. It was one of my favorite tweets.
I can't think of a better note to end it on because, quite frankly, I agree. I think that this is either going to break them or it's going to make them, and it's an accelerant for sure. So, honestly, if this team comes out and does what it was going to do anyway, then I don't want to hear any shit about their mental fortitude. So, if it ain't rough, what was it?
If it ain't rough, it ain't right.
If it ain't rough, it ain't right. And on
Championship DNA.
Championship DNA, baby. And on that note, thanks for tuning in and missing the point for Hollywood Ray Buchanan and for the real BK Bob Kelly and everybody here at MTP. We'll talk to you again soon. Go Celtics.
It's so sad, bro.
All right, I gotta take my dog out the bathroom. That was a good show. I was talking basketball with you guys.
You gotta hit stop recording though.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Hey there, I'm DC. I host the Rock Podcast, Back to the Arena, The Interviews. It's about a 30-minute podcast where I talk one-on-one with a band who has released new music. You can find us on all the best podcast sites like Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more. If you're a rock fan like me, subscribe today to Back to the Arena, The Interviews.
Electricast. Welcome, explorers of the human experience. This is Let's Talk Soul, and I'm your host, Claudia Monticelli. We're not afraid of the great mysteries of existence here. Soul versus consciousness, we're on it. Spirituality versus science, we've got that covered too. Join us in navigating these profound topics with wisdom, curiosity, and a dash of audacity. Whether you're a spiritual veteran or just starting your journey, Let's Talk Soul is your passport to the unknown. Let's Talk Soul, diving into the depths of the human spirit. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts. Electricast.